Well, for the past month or so, my guest has been looking after one of the most valuable pieces of horse flesh in Australasia. That particular thoroughbred, we'll talk about him very shortly. But I caught up with Cassie Abbott to have a discussion about her career in harness racing. Well, Cassie, great to catch up with you. Your career in harness racing commenced back in WA with Trevor Warwick.
Yeah, so back in 2010, just as I was starting out, I just went down there and did the boxes, and it just went from there.
You've also worked with Mike Brennan.
Yeah, I was there my last 3 years back in Perth, doing all sorts of things. You know, I jogged horses, rode the horses for him, as well as take him up on the double meetings.
You mentioned riding your paces, but you also were interested in having a career as a jockey.
Yeah, it was always a long life dream of mine, but just a few things, I just never got around to doing it.
You linked up with Annabelle Neesham. How did that all come about?
So we made the move to New South Wales, and I was here for a couple of weeks and then decided I need to start looking for a job. And Ash Brennan was over here and she had a few contacts, and I decided, well, I might as well give the thoroughbreds a go. And she said, well, Annabelle's got a job if you want it. So that's how it all started.
And what position did you fill with Annabelle?
So I started off with a stable hand job, so just, you know, taking the horses to and from the track, washing them, etc. And then that moved on to being in charge of one of the barns, looking after more responsibilities.
Now, being in charge of the barn, you had 12 or so horses under your care. Now, one of those particular horses, Zaki, and Zaki came out today to make it back-to-back Hollandale wins, and what a wonderful performer he is.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and he's really great. You know, he's just really good to work with. I've been very privileged to have the role of looking after him for the last couple of weeks.
He is a champion. Now, champions do have a tendency to be full of themselves on occasions. What's Zaki's temperament like?
95% of the time he's really well. He knows when it's race day. His mood actually changes a couple of days out, and he gets a bit more crankier, you could say. But I mean, when you're as good as him, you can have those faults. You
certainly can. You can always overlook their little indiscretions when they're that good, because he's won the 5 million, the All-Star at Flemington, the Doomben Cup, Group 1 Underwood, as I mentioned, back-to-back Hollandales. What a wonderful performer, and still more to come.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, as a 7-year-old, he's, you know, on the older scale of thoroughbreds, but yeah, no, he just gives it all he's got, and I think he's still got plenty there.
Cassie, you're recognised as a barn leader. What's that entail?
So basically just a few more responsibilities than the stable hand. You just kind of overlook the horses that are in that barn, make sure the correct strappers are taking the correct horses out to the track, you know, day-to-day treatments such as, you know, your icing and any ulcer treatments, and just the little things like that, reporting back to Annabelle or, you know, Todd, the assistant trainer, if anything goes wrong or if anything you think needs changing.
And what a rapid rise to stardom Annabelle has enjoyed over the past year or so.
Yeah, I didn't realise she had actually only been training for as long as she had, and when I found that out, and I thought, wow, she's had an amazing start to her career, and it's only going up from there, which is, you know, it's an amazing opportunity to be able to work under her.
Cassie, what's a typical day at the stables?
For me, 2 a.m. start, you know, get to work for 2:30ish, and then, you know, go through till about 9, a little bit later if it's a longer gallop day, but yeah, and then a couple of afternoons a week.
Also, as the winter months approach, the 2 a.m. starts gets even worse.
Oh yeah, definitely. The first winter morning hit this morning, actually. It was 4.2 degrees at 4 o'clock this morning, so it was quite cool.
And you arrived over from WA to Sydney, and you did have some family here, which made the move a little bit more easier. And we've got to mention that you're also Corey Peterson's partner. Yeah,
so I have my great-grandma and my great-auntie here, so, you know, having them here, knowing that I could go hang out with them if I wanted to, made it a little bit easier. And then, yeah, just, you know, coming over with Corey, it just felt right. After
a quiet period, Corey certainly was starting to make his mark here in Sydney, particularly here at Club Menangle, with some very strong performances, Smooth Rye and also Roman Aviator. But now you're telling us you're heading back to WA.
Yeah, so just a change in Smooth Rye's programming. There's a couple of good races back in Perth for her. So Corey, you know, we only had the 3 in work, and he just decided, well, I think if she goes, I may as well go with her. And then we just decided, yep, all right, it's time to go home.
You're also very heavily involved with the paces. You're here of a Saturday night helping out Corey. Has there been any ambition to get a licence?
I'm quite happy just doing my own little thing that I do with our horses. Corey's really good. He lets me do a lot of my things with the race days. He just kind of gets in the car, helps gear him up if he needs. But no, I do a lot of that. I love just being there to help.
Well, the move back to WA, we wish you well, but must be very tough leaving a horse like Zaki behind.
Oh, it definitely is. It took me a good hour to work up to go talk to Annabelle the other day to tell her, look, you know, I've got to move back home. It's more I was starting to really miss home as well, so it made the decision really tough being in such a great stable.
Well, Cassie, we certainly wish you and Corey all the very best of luck. It's been lovely to have you over here on the East Coast and wish you all going back home.
Thank you very much. It's been great being here.